And welcome back. So, as I said, this is a video I just felt like doing because I haven't done a match. Again, all the pack stuff is coming out relatively soon. We even got some calendar stuff today, just world building stuff. But I haven't done a magic video in a little while, and I just felt the urge to do it. So, yeah, well, I'm gonna do it. And this is basically my top 10 favorite, or my personal favorite, my personal top 10 of dual color combinations. By that, the guild colors of Ravnica, the red blues, the green blacks, and so forth and so on. My particular, which ones I like the least to which ones I like the most. And in this essence, I like all the color combinations okay to some degree. Obviously, I like some a lot more than others. I have my personal favorites, which, if you have watched any of my magic videos long enough, you'll actually know what my number one is. But, well, don't spoil it for the rest of the viewers. But anyway, let's get on to it. So, and I have some visual aids here. So, number 1, or number 10, Golgari, or green-black. Now, I used by the way, a lot of the cards I used for example, I actually do illustrate the point a bit well of why I either like or dislike a card, color combination. And with Golgari, it just stems from the fact that, first off, here's a little spoiler. All the black color combinations are in the bottom 4. Just putting it out there right now, and I'm not gonna bullshit you on that. And sorry, I got something on my nose. Anyway. Black green is interesting because green is among my two favorite colors, along with blue. And so you would think that combining green with the least favorite color would at least bump it from the number 10 spot, but no. Black-green has never been a color combination, at least not a dual color combination I'm fond of. When I'm using it with more colors than just 2, it's a different story. Like, I like Jund fine. Jund colors are cool, black, red, green. But black-green, I've never been able to get behind. And if you really understand the color combination philosophy, it kind of it starts to unravel why I don't like it that much. It deals a lot with graveyard manipulation. And I've never been big on graveyard manipulation at all. There's a lot of zombies in it. There's a lot of funguses. You get dark elves in it. For instance, we have Jared Golgari Lichlord, who's a zombie elf, legendary creature. He costs 2 green, 2 black. He's a 2. There he is. He's a 2/2. Yeah, it's in reverse, but what are you gonna do? He gets +1/+1 for each creature on the graveyard. That seems pretty cool. And then you sacrifice another creature. Opponents lose life equal to the sacrificed creature's power. And if he's dead, and then you can sacrifice a swamp or forest to return them from the graveyard to your hand. So, in essence, that sounds like a lot of recursion, as it would be really cool and fun to play with. But when trying to play, and it's particularly this guy in general, he's actually not that good. I mean, he's okay, but he's not that good. He's really only effective in things like Commander. But when you actually get into that recursion, you have to... Because it's about death and rebirth with the color combination. And it means with death, you have to sacrifice to get something back. And I'm not really interested or keen on, at least in my dual decks, sacrificing resources to get some resources back that might not, help me in the long run. I mean, Jared can be a big, meaty guy, but when compared to other colors, like white, for instance, can just shut him down completely. Blue can just say, no, I'm going to counter you. So, and then you're going to sacrifice your land, your actual mana production source your majority mana production source for what? This guy who, again, could just be stopped by white and blue with no problem, and if he's not strong enough, he can be taken out by red. He can still be destroyed by black. And I'm just talking about this guy in general. There's good black-red cards. I mean, like Corpse Jack Menace I use in my Devour deck because his ability works good in Devour deck. When Return to Ragnarok came along, I did enjoy the scavenge mechanic. That's because I like big, meaty creatures. So the scavenge mechanic I was actually kind of fond of. I never really got behind the dredge mechanic from the original Ravnica. So really, I don't see the appeal, at least in my sense. Sacrificing to get stuff back, but getting your resources that might aid you in the long run. It's just not a color combination I enjoy. So that's my number 10. Number 9, blue-black, Dimir. And I used Haven Gold Lich to illustrate my point on this. Another one that does kind of deal with the graveyard mechanics a little bit. In this case, it deals with you may cast a the card from a graveyard this turn. When you cast this card, it gains the ability, so forth. The difference on why I prefer the blue, and blue is my favorite color. That's might be slightly partly why it's above the green-black. But the reason I like blue-black a little better is, first off, you can get a bit more shenanigans going on, because blue is the color of reaction countering spell heavy very much. But when you add black into it, you suddenly go into a different realm. You go into a lot more things like unblockable. You got a lot of zombies. Zombie recursion is a different type of recursion than, say, Golgari recursion. That's not, and in blue-black, mind you. That's a recursion I don't mind utilizing. And then when you get like the in-mass zombie swarms going when your blue-black zombie decks, that can be pretty fun. Overrunning opponents can be really cool in that sense. But blue-black has another added advantage, that it's the color of deception. No other color really works with deception better than blue-black, because it's the color of spies, assassins, thieves, changelings. And when you get that into work that into the fray, it becomes a very unique and interesting color combination. My current blue-black deck just stands as a zombie deck. In fact, I should also note, I believe, and I'll make a note if I don't have one, besides the green-black color combination, I have a deck for each dual color currently. They're all casual decks, whatever. And the one I currently have for the blue-black is the zombie one. It's fun. Blue-black is also the color of milling. It's a big mill color, which a lot of people don't seem to really like. I love milling. Milling is awesome because it really is just it's a race type game at that point. It's like, crap, he's getting rid of all my great shit. I need to hopefully draw and get rid of his stuff that's making me mill stuff. Oh, he just drew more mill stuff. He just played more mill stuff. I've lost half my deck in 5 turns. So I enjoy that kind of gameplay. Now I know a lot of people don't, and that's fine. You don't have to. But for me, mill stuff, like, I don't use Mind Funerals though, because granted, I have a couple cards that are basically the Mind Funeral effect, like Mind Grind, I believe is basically Mind Funeral for X, so Mind Funeral steroids. But I don't use them. First of all, I've never got my hands on my field. Mark has a deck that has Mind Funeral, and yeah, it's about as annoying as you'd expect. But yeah, blue-black, my number 9. So number 8, white-black, Orzhov. Now, you would think among the blacks, the blue-black would be my favorite because it's got blue in there, but surprisingly, no. And I used Tessia, Envoy of Ghosts for this comparison because, one, she protection for creatures. White is the protection color. Black that goes in there is a destruction color, more or less. It's the greedy color. It's the burn your life and burn your hand color a lot of times, and destroy some of the field. Red does that more, but still. White is the protection and shut down the color. Shut down your opponent's color. It also token production. Lots of ghost spirits that often show up. So when you combine those together, you get a combination that's dealing. Also, white is the color of life gain, very much, is even more so than green. So when you end up Dragonfly, so when you combine those together, you get a color combination. And mine currently, it functions about the same. I don't use a lot of the extort mechanic, but I use a lot of shut your shit down, and then I'm going to gain life and do a lot of and then just work. Life manipulation is what I'm trying to get at with this. Life manipulation is the near bread and butter. In fact, it's pretty much the bread and butter. You gain, they lose life manipulation of the Orzhov color trope, and that's where the fun really lies in that color combination. I enjoy very much. Because life is more or less the essence of Magic. You don't have life. In very few exceptions, you lose all the time. There's like 1 or 2 cards that I know for a fact. There's one new Phyrexia that says if you drop below 0 life, you don't lose the game. Instead, there's like poison counter shenanigans, something like that. So there's, on a rare occurrence, there's an exception to the rule. But generally speaking, life is the essence of the game. So you need your life to a degree. You need to at least always have 1 life, otherwise you're gone. And I like the fact that Orzhov says, you know what, you're going to have to pay a little toll here. And Orzhov is the greedy color more. It's the greediest of all the colors. Save maybe our next one. So that's Orzhov. By the way, I'm not going to be going on to like 5-minute explanations for all these. I know I went on a 4-minute for the first one. But some of them will be real quick. Number 7? Number 7. Rakdos. Now, I said that, and Malphegor is, and this is an old Malphegor, you can see the fraying on the edges there. I got this in a trade. I've had it ever since. I got this years ago. I love Malphegor. Big old fire demon dragon. Nice. But Malfegor is interesting in that he really represents the whole pure, unadulterated rage of Rakdos. Rakdos is, we're going to burn your life to the ground. We're going to burn your house to the ground. We're going to burn your field to the ground. Your artifacts gone. Your land's pillaged. We are going to rape and pillage your entire game. That's what Rakdos is. Rakdos is, I don't give a shit color. Malfegor is a very good example. It's a lot of self-mutilation for opponent mutilation. Rakdos discards your whole hand, but in essence, you get to wipe out pretty much, if you got a big hand, at least 3 or 4 cards in your hand, you're wiping out their entire board. I mean, their entire creature field. They got nothing left after that. You still have a 6/6 flyer on the field. And Rakdos himself is just, both versions. The original one is dealt damage based on demons and things like that. I can't remember exactly. I used to have it, but I traded it, I think, actually, for Malfegor. And Dom was just enjoying rubbing her back on the moss, and she's adorable. She was a little naughty today, so I got to keep an eye on her. Yeah. But like the new Rakdos, like, you can't bring him out unless you deal damage. Which, if you're running a black-red deck, oh my God, how are you going to deal damage? Oh, I dealt 1 damage with a sorcery spell. Okay, summon the demon, and then and then he just lessens the spell. He's a freaking 6/6 flying trample, I think, for 4. He's nuts. But that's the thing, Rakdos is just in your face, burn, 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 boom, boom, quick, powerful. It's really not much about the defense. I mean, you can make a black-red Rakdos deck for, and mine's currently how you would play a Rakdos deck. But Rakdos is not really the color of, I'm going to make some wall. You could, mind you, make some walls, and then you can't get through the walls, and now I'm just going to burn, burn, burn. You can very much do a Rakdos deck in that style, but both red and black are not creature heavy. In fact, they are, I mean, black falls in the middle, but red falls on the, it's actually the second least heavy of the creatures, with blue being the least creature heavy of color. So, Rakdos, fun. I love it. I love just firing blasts of, like, life damage. I mean, like, Breath of Malfegor is 5 damage right off the bat, so fun times. Now we get on to the number 6 spot. Number 6, and this might be coming as a little surprise given how I view the color pie. Just to recap real quick. My favorite colors go in this order of blue, green, red. Then it goes white, and black is my least favorite color. So at number 6, when seeing that Selesnya, the green-white color, is actually my number 6 spot, it might be a little surprising. You'd think maybe like the other greens or blues would be in my my top 5 spot, and most of them definitely are. If it wasn't for the fact that is it my number 5 spot? No, it's my number 4 spot. My number 4 spot kinda, after making a certain deck, kinda changed my mind of some things. But I use Cigar as a good example. That's green-white is the color. It's definitely the creature production color, almost to a T. I think red might have a little bit in that, and red and black both might have a little bit in that area as well, but this is the token maker. This is the pump out your small army, your big army, create more of your tokens, like with Populate. It deals with protection with Hexproof. It's about the community with green-white. It deals a lot with the sum of the parts equaling the machine, basically. The machine can function without all the parts, but when all the parts come together, it is a impressive feat. And hello, Dragonfly. This little Dragonfly is just flying around. He's blue and he's awesome. I love him. He's a cool Dragonfly. Anyway, but what I like about it is, in the one deck I have that's green white. Actually, I have 2 green white decks actually, and one's actually an artifact deck with golems. It's just the non-artifact cards that I use that are colored just happen to be green white, so I made it a green white deck. The other one, though, it deals with both token production and life gain, which is 2 strategies that deal heavy with the green-white scenario. Mark has a green-white deck that's actually even worse because it's a recursion deck. It deals with graveyard and bringing things back and protection. He's got, I can't remember the name of the card, but he's got things that will actually protect him. And, what was the card he has? That, it's from, I believe it's from Shadowmoor. It's not a liege. It's like an avatar, and it has protection from. Basically, it has protection from the other 3 colors. The only colors that it doesn't have protection from are itself, green and white. So if you're playing any deck that does not have green or white, if that thing comes onto the battlefield, you are absolutely fucked unless you're like an artifact user. In this case, you can maybe do some shenanigans with that. Point being, I digress. Actually, no, I don't digress. It's a perfect example that white is a very versatile. White and green are actually very versatile in how you can use them. Now, all the colors are versatile in their own way, but white and green is interesting that you don't have to use it for like just the life gain or the creature production. As Mark does, you can use it for just freaking field protection, board protection, continual regeneration, recursion, all that stuff. You can use it constantly for those things, which makes it very interesting and unique in my mind. Very fun. And it uses a lot of fun creature types. That's another thing I should always mention about these, is that they use a lot of fun creature types. Particularly elves show up. Avatars are a big thing. Trolls that will show up in this color combination from time to time. There is a Hydra in there, but we'll get the Hydras in a little bit later in the video, because I will actually have a little bit to mention on the Hydra stuff. But yeah, that's my number 6. Number 5, blue-white, Azorius. And I used Council of Absolute, and I wasn't going to use any cards that are actually in decks. These are all out of my binder. These are cards I don't actually use at the moment. Council of Absolute is a perfect example that enters the battlefield, name a card that other than a creature or land. Your opponent can't cast cards with the chosen name. Spells with the chosen name you cast, it costs 2 less. So essentially, it is the almost pinnacle of control, blue-white. And I say that because I want to get to my second, or my number 4? My number 4 spot. Well, you'll understand what I mean. But really, it is pretty much the pinnacle color of control. It is the control color. I have 2 myself. One's a bird deck I made for fun. But the other is a pure control deck. When you add pacifisms, when you add Recumbent Bliss, when you add Arrest, when you add Path to Exiles, when you add Journey to Nowheres, when you add Oblivion Rings, when you add Narcolepsy, when you add freaking Cumberstones. Cumberstones is one I use a lot. I love just putting the field, especially Godhead of Awe, which basically makes everything besides it a 1/1, and then Cumberstone. You shut down everything. Because Hexproof can't get around that, because Hexproof is just for, targeting. And yeah, it just targets the whole field, so any Hexproof creature becomes a 1/1. So your giant friggin' Eldrazi monster, for instance, Emrakul, for a perfect example, becomes a 1/1. And it's hilarious. It still has all its abilities, mind you. So if you somehow were able to get Godhead of Awe up against Emrakul, Eon's Torn, good chance Emrakul's Eon's Torn's Annihilator 6 ability might still kill the Godhead of Awe, but it would have to attack first, and we'll then see where it goes from there. Point being, is that Godhead of Awe is a very shut down. I love using Godhead of Awe. I absolutely love it. Then, but you also have Venser Soranger, who can... Now, I understand he's not really well liked. I enjoy using him a bit because he can, blink stuff into the back into the battlefield for trigger effects. He can make things unblockable. And if you get his emblem off, anytime you're casting stuff, you're exiling stuff as well. I love blue-white as a control color. So, blue-white, well, my number 5 spot. Number 4, though, is actually my favorite, my new favorite control combo. And that's Boros. Now Boros just in itself, I had a Boros deck a little while ago, and I used Fire Main Angel, for example, there. Boros is interesting that, yeah, most people are going to think of the quick, just pump the shoulders out, angels, whatever. I had the idea because I was bored one night. When you're bored, you'll do stuff, and you'll make decks when you're a Magic player. So I was bored, and I'm like, okay, I got my blue-white one. Because could I make a red-white one? Because I got a lot of red-white stuff I can use. I like just like hybrid cards, dual color cards. I got a lot of red cards and blue-white. I still got a lot of white control cards, and I got a couple red control cards. So I'm like, okay, I'm piecing this together. And as it's piecing together, I'm like, oh, this is actually wrong. This is actually very wrong. So let's break it down for a second for you. Again, things like pacifism, that's natural. Path to Exile, which is where I actually use them. Oblivion Rings, yeah, that's natural. Then you get into the actual red component of that. So you stop their board, and then you burn their board, or you burn them, and they can't do anything. One of my favorite things to do, mind you, is, I believe it's Borderland, Hinterland Giants, or Borderland Giants. Basically, I believe it's from either Lorwyn or Morningtide. and it is a 2/2 or 2 red, 2 generic, 8/8 giant that you put on the battlefield, and your opponent gets to search their library and put a creature onto the battlefield. So automatically you think, well, that's not that great a card because he's causing them to get probably their best creature or something like that. But unless they are getting something with hexproof, all you have to do then is either pacifist them, arrest them, path to exile them, in which case they'll maybe get a land, or wait and let them attack and path to exile, and then attack in with your 8/8. It quickly becomes obvious that red-white is actually a better control, because the reason I would call red-white the actual better control color than red-blue, white-blue, is, I mean, and white-blue can do things like counter and stuff like that, but white-blue can be offensive, obviously, because you have to have creatures to do damage, unless you're dealing with, like, millist weird shit. Red-white is the control color that actually can stop you and then dish the damage back and actually put you on both the defense and got to get rid of the offense as well. It's a color combination. And then you put in, like, Urabrask, who is a very control red card who all creatures come in tapped and you have haste. Yeah, that is a control card. Red doesn't get a lot of control cards, but when it does, they are powerful. I also use the Gideon from Gatecrash in that one as well, just because he has a board wipe effect. At worst case scenario, and then of course there's what was it? Avatar of what's the name of it? I'm blanking a name. It's from Zendikar. It's a 4/4, 3 generic, 2 white. It's an avatar, and I believe it says you sacrifice a card. You choose a card. Oh, you choose a card type. Beginning of your opponent's upkeep, they sacrifice the card. Bone War is another card I love because it's just basically like, okay, if I've got less than you, you can't do anything. So I've got less lands, I've got less creatures, I got less enchantments, I got less artifacts. You can't put any of them on the field until I at least equal you. Such fun stuff can come out of that. Of course, that's an artifact card, but still, love that to death. Moving on, number 3 spot. Izzet. And of course, Niv Mizzet is the card I use for that. Izzet is just, it's the invention. It's the creativity color. It's fun. It's just counter, burn, big it's even got some big stuff. It's got some dragons. It's got Niv Mizzet. It's the color that is both reactive for countering, reactive for blocking, reactive for damage. You can be fast, you can be sidestep, or you can slow play. It's so diverse in how it can be used that I just love the color. And I love the weird stuff that comes, particularly, pun intended, the weirds, like Ravnica weirds. What the fuck are weirds? They're a creature type. Are they elemental? Are they spear? I mean, they're alchemic, I'm guessing. But, and they have, and some of the designs in Izzet are just, when you get into the kind of steampunky artificer, like Mercurial Chemist, I believe, or Mercurial Cannoneer, or something like that. The guy basically with the rail gun on his shoulder. He's got a rail gun on his shoulder. The concepts visually that come out of the cards in this color are awesome in my mind. So I don't have much else to say about that. It makes you, I know it's like, but why is that more? Why is it you like it more than the other colors? It sometimes it's a little more just personal preference than an actual real clear-cut explanation. But number 2, the second to last one, Gruul, red-green, sorry. And Gruul is the color of just big, meaty shit. As much as I'm a blue player, and I am, I love big, meaty creatures. I love just giant boom. And this is where I come back to the Hydra thing. Green-red is the Hydra color through and through. Now, you'll have Hydras. Yeah, Hydras are green. They're the green's big creature, the big creature. But when you talk about the color combinations, I believe there is a green-white. There's the Phyto Hydra, which is a green-white one, I believe. And there's a Phyto Hydra that's in green. But other than that, green-red is the Hydra color through and through when you're talking about multicolor. I have yet to see a green-black Hydra, that's possible, I assume, and a green-blue Hydra, which, again, possible. Anything's possible. But green, I have 2 or 3. I think I have 2 green-red decks at the moment. One's a werewolf deck, which I love. The other's a Hydra deck, which I love. I just love Hydra because I love big reptilian monsters. That's why I love dragons. That's why I love snakes. I will hold out for the day when I get a giant swinged legendary serpent. That will be, or just a giant serpent, a legendary creature. That'd be awesome. But no, I love big reptilian, because reptiles are my favorite classification of animals, and I love snakes particularly. And what is a Hydra? I mean, yeah, it's got legs, but it's giant snake-like monster heads. And then green is also, the color. It's actually the heaviest next to white in terms of the artifact and enchantment destruction. Naturalize, obviously. And plus it deals with giant creatures the most. It deals with it deals with protection quite a bit, and then red comes in and deals with the aggressive nature of it. It deals with the reactive nature when you have instances. Then you combine them together, and you have giant, fast-acting creatures, usually without much downside to them. Now, that being said, the only downside with red-green a lot of time with the big, meaty creatures is that it does take a little while. It could take some time to get the big creatures out, unless you got mono ramp, which most decks should have some sort of mono ramp in that regard, especially when you're in green. But overall, I'm in green-red, yeah. But then we move on to my number 1, and at this point you probably guessed what it is if you didn't figure it out already. It's Simic. It's green-blue. Green-blue, now, that being said, my first deck was actually a white-black cleric deck from the Apocalypse Onslaught era. But after that, I'm like, well, actually, my first deck, I think, was a combination of green and stuff, but I just couldn't get into Magic at the time. But when I got back into Magic, my actual first deck was a white-black deck. But then I'm like, nah, I'm just not feeling this. I mean, it's okay, but I'm not feeling this color. And then I found cards that my sister must have had at some point, and she didn't play the game, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to use these. And I pretty much just made a green-blue deck from the cards that were there, because they were the ones that had the most cards there. And from that, it was not good. It was not good at all, but from that, I started to evolve the deck further and further. Then I gained Boggles. By the way, Slippery Boggle, one of my favorite green-blue cards of all time. Of all time. I'll probably do a bunch of top 10 lists in the future of just my favorite cards of color combinations and colors in general. But, point being, then come out with Favor of the Overbeing. Turn 1, Slippery Boggle, which has Hexproof. Turn 2, Favor of the Overbeing. Now you have Flying Vigilance 3/3 Hexproof. Yeah. But then I just went into areas where, okay, I got Morphine Liege now. Lore Scale Coatl, snakes. Green-blue is the color of snakes, my friend. If you do not believe me, you must believe me. Green-blue is the color of the snake. It is, I mean, not snakes exist in Dark House. Snakes exist in black. Snakes exist in green, blue. I do not believe they exist in red yet. And I know they don't exist in white. But who knows? Who knows what the future? I can see them existing in red. Don't get me wrong. Mostly though, they exist in those 3 colors, particularly in the green and blue. The green is where they almost always exist. Then they splash more in the blue than they do black. Then you get into things like what green-blue actually stands for. When you go into the Simic's philosophy, it's about controlling evolution and forced evolution. Well, not forced. Not this. Well, yes, forced evolution sometimes, but selective evolutions, choosing your evolutionary path, and just evolving into new creative things, like freaking Simic Skyswaller, man. One of my favorite original Ravnica cards from Dissension. That was awesome at the time. Then we have our green-blue Planeswalker, Kiora. She deals with, like, Leviathans and stuff. Green-blue is interesting in that, despite being blue, it is the color of adaptation. It can change what it needs to be. Now, granted, it's not green. Neither green or blue are destruction-heavy, but at the same time, they don't need to be. Blue is reactionary. It is, you can unsummon stuff. You can counter stuff. You can stop stuff on the field. But at the same time, you have flyers. You have... You do have Leviathans in blue. Then in blue is the least creature-heavy color, but it's the most spell-heavy color. So what happens when you combine it with the least spell-heavy color, but the biggest creature-heavy color? You get an interesting combination of worlds. You get Leviathans. You can get little 1/1s or 0/4s that can grow into monsters. You can get freaking creatures with unbelievably weird effects. Because, frankly, the only colors that don't... branch through blue and green. Let me think of that real quick. Green can have lifelink. Green can have haste on rare occasions, but I'm talking about in general though. So you won't know you won't usually see green haste in green or blue. You might see death. You could actually definitely see death touch. Flying you definitely see. Hexproof you definitely see. Again, blue-green, the hexproof color. If you want to compare colors. Now you won't see first strike. You won't see double strike. That's a given. But that being said, you will sometimes see lifelink. You will definitely see death touch occasionally. You will see flying almost certainly. Hexproof's a given. And that's the ones I can just think of off the top of my head. There are plenty of other ones. Prowess is now an evergreen mechanic, so you will see prowess in that color combination. I can guarantee you. That hasn't happened yet, but I can guarantee you will see it down the line. Scry exists very heavily in that color as well. That's a new evergreen mechanic. So blue-green, because of how blue-green plays, you can control your opponent's turn. You can control your own turn. Now black, it actually has a bit more leeway in that color when you deal with controls because it has a bit more to it. But because it's the greedy color, it's the selfish color. But blue is the intellectual versus the it's the nurture versus nature debate, and it comes together as in a Simic. And I love the designs too. I always see blue-green, I'm like rainforest. I love the rainforest. I love the designs of everything that comes with that. So yeah. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. So those are my top 10 favorite dual colors in Magic, my guild colors, if you will. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below, let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Who would win ideas? Put those down in the comments as well. I do get to those. I do. I might do one more video for Magic today. There was some information for Kaladesh. I have no other plans today for videos, though, unless information pops up. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you folks next time.